Hi, it's Maija here with 5 books that I'm planning to read in June. This video is inspired by Becky M, who I will link in the description. And the first 2 books you might have seen in my latest currently reading video, where I said that I would pick up these 2 next after I finish the 2 that I was then currently reading. And that still holds true, but it took me quite a while longer to finish those books that I had been planning. But the first of those is Atlas Alone by Emma Newman. This is the 4th book in her Planetfall science fiction series. It's basically a series of sort of standalone stories following different main characters, but with this overarching events in the world and some recurring side characters. And I still think this series is best read in order. The first book is called Planetfall. The next book that I'm planning to read is a graphic novel called On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. This is science fiction. It's about 2 timelines and 2 girls in love, and this is nominated for a Hugo Award in the graphic work category, and you can read it online as a webcomic too, and I will leave a link to it in the description. It's quite long. Then in May I read the first book in this high fantasy duology. The first book was called The Sorceress and the Signet, and the second book is called The Signet and the Firebird by Patricia A. McKillip. And I really enjoyed the first book, so I thought that I would read the second one quite soon after finishing that first one, so because the world is still fresh in my mind, and I think this follows at least some of the same characters as the first one did, even though that one did work as a standalone novel in that it had a complete story. I glanced at the first page and I think this is set quite soon after the events of the first book, so it's probably good that I read it quite soon after the first one. Then I am reading another short story collection together with Rachel, and this time we are reading Word Puppets by Mary Robinette Kowal, and we are reading 1 story per day. This is a collection of science fiction and fantasy short stories from Mary Robinette Kowal, and I've only previously read her historical fantasy novels from her, so I am excited to see what sort of other stuff she has written. And then finally I have a book on my Kindle that is Experimental Film by Gemma Files, and this is the one that if I'm not in the right mood for it, I will read something else instead. But this is a book that I want to read for the TBR chart challenge that I pulled, which was to read a book that was featured in a Try a Chapter video. And it's been a long time since I bought this, and I meant to read it a couple of times. I really liked the first chapter when I read it for the Try a Chapter video, but for some reason I just didn't continue with it. It does sound very good. It's a horror book revolving around movies. So these are the 5 books that I'm planning to read in June. Let me know some of your reading plans, and I will see you in my next video.